All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cecilia Vega here, and I am drinking at Moe's. How you doing today?
All right, everybody, taking time out before we get this show started. I want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin' Mo's be a brand ambassador for their clothing line. They got good stuff. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got beanies, they got lots of great stuff, encouraging everybody to break out of their comfort zone, live their best self, and hey, it's something I try to live every day. Now, be sure when you go and you're finishing filling out your order, use the code Drinking at Moe's, get 10% off, and the link and the code will both be in the description. Let's fucking go. All right, everybody, welcome Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here.
Hello.
You know the drill by now. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all the good shit, because YouTube's algorithm is a pain in the ass still. Leave a review on the audio platforms too. Today, I'm excited to have with me Cecilio Vega, one of the few people from H2O I haven't had on yet.
Yep, finally
How
here
you
now.
doing?
I am good. How about yourself?
Oh, I can't complain. Like I kind of mentioned before we got started here, got some big WrestleMania week plans with content every single day, Sunday to Sunday. Actually, this weekend got some big wrestling related plans going out to Sammy Callahan's promotion, Wrestling Revolver.
Nice.
And they got some rather intense matches from GYV versus what is it? The Lucha House Party. Those two guys. And then there's Macklin, Alex Colon, Ricky Shane Page, and Killer Kelly versus the Steggin Gear Crew and Masha Slamovich.
Oof. That's a really decent. That's a really good card.
Oh, and that's just two of the matches. They got a 6-way scramble that, oh God, they got out of the 6, they've announced 5, and I know Jake, Chris, Gringo Loco, and Warhorse are all in it.
Oh man, I've seen him work a few. I've seen him work a couple times at GCW, and it's amazing watching that guy work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, physics don't apply to that man.
That is true.
At all.
That is true. I've actually seen Gringo Loco and Jake Chris, two of the members of that match, go up against each other. And Jake Chris was actually involved in my first ever death match that I got to witness in person.
Oh wow.
So, lots of great memories.
Page, I think he was one of my very first death matches I've seen like many years ago when I was like doing backyard stuff. And seeing those guys work and telling that story is always amazing.
Oh yeah. And for me, I love the Steggin Gear Crew. And one of my first big names, and actually the first big name I had involved in death matches, Alex Colon.
Oh yeah, he's a man too.
Also had him on. I actually got signed ring worn kick pads of his. So bit of a wrestling autograph collector. So I'm nowhere near the level of let's say Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, but I mean, evidence behind.
Your collection is looking behind you. Your collection looks super extensive.
I'm proud of my collection. I got it somewhat organized. You can't see up top, but that's all my Ninja Turtle stuff. And then the top shelf is all signed figures. I got my little tribute to some of my favorite wrestlers that have passed on. Here are the only ones I keep out of the box. So I I've rearranged it about goddamn probably 5 or 6 times since I got the shelf.
Yeah, I'm almost at that same type of time. My whole entire house is literally just full of like collectors' items and memorabilia and stuff. Stuff that I've also been involved with, posters and
Mm,
other stuff that like. I always say this a lot. I was a fan before I was a actual worker. So
yeah.
I still at times where I still like, geek out, have that like that little fan like
Oh,
moment where I'm like, ah, yes.
oh yeah. I've definitely had those. Well, hell, both before the podcast and during it. Like before the podcast, I had the chance. I actually got to meet Becky Lynch. That was fun. Got something autographed by her. Got to meet Hall of Fame referee Tim White at
That's
that
awesome.
same thing. And then, you know, well, actually, I didn't get anything autographed by him, but I always love telling the story of when I bumped into Kevin Owens at Disney World.
At Disney World, me and my wife, we were on our anniversary, and we actually ran into like Mojo and a couple other guys there too. It was actually
And you
pretty
know
cool.
what? After I realized, oh, wait, Performance Center, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's
But,
literally like
oh, go ahead.
no, no. I was saying the Performance Center. I think it's like right down the street from Universal. I think actually.
Yeah, I was wanting to say it was I forget where exactly in the area, but I knew it was close.
Mhm.
But you mentioned being a fan before, getting into the business. The first thing I'd like to start off with everybody with is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you finally deciding to make the leap into the business.
Oh man, this is going to be a long story. So,
It
wrestling,
happens.
yeah, wrestling was always I would say like a household thing. My grandparents used to watch, when they were babysitting us and me and my brothers and stuff, like they would have wrestling on, we will watch. Uh, my dad, he did some minor work, on the wrestling scene too before, we came along. So, he decided to be, the dad before,
Yeah.
So, growing up, we always had wrestling related into, some type of lifestyle. So, uh, growing up again, like my dad, for instance, my dad's favorite wrestler is Bob Backlund.
Mm.
Like my so he's always referencing Bob, and then when it comes to like me and my brother, we're talking about like Eddie,
Mm.
Jericho, Dean Malenko, William Regal, and those type of guys. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
go to like my little brother, uh, you know, he's just right in that in between era of guys where they're just coming in now. And then if you look at my son's just all about Roman, Seth. So yeah, the fandom runs deep. Uh, you
That's
know,
nice.
a lot of the times when we met wrestlers, it was because we got tickets for shows and we'll go out and be in the parking lot early as hell, trying to just get pictures, autographs, and things of those types of natures.
Oh, yeah.
Um, you know, it's cool now because like my grandfather, my dad did it for me, so then it's like I get to do it with my kids, so get to enjoy those little tiny moments.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I
yeah,
can,
so
that's nice because I know when my wife and I have kids, I'm hoping, you know, at least one of them I can get to, kind of tag along with
yeah,
me.
yeah, my son goes everywhere. He's you know, my biggest little cheerleader, I guess, if you want to say. Like, he's always rooting me on. He's always trying to go as many shows as possible. I know sometimes it sucks because it's like, hey, buddy, it's a school night, so you can't come.
Mm, yeah.
He'll get upset, but a lot of times he's usually there with me and try to take him up, take him as much as possible.
Probably
Um,
going to run into a few of those WrestleMania week with all the plans that H2O has.
yeah. Um, oof. That's just, I think there's matches and events going on every day that week leading up to WrestleMania. And
Yeah, I
then
think
that's,
Monday through all the way through. Yeah.
yeah. I know for a fact we're running Monday Night Death, and then on the Tuesday we have the Hustle Cup.
Yeah, I was going to say that was one of the matches I had seen that you for sure advertised for was the first time ever match at Hustle Cup versus. Let me see if I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt McCow's. Yeah,
Ooh.
trying to see if I
Yes.
could read my own handwriting. Sometimes it's hit and miss.
It's okay. I have chicken scratch handwriting myself. It's okay. I get it.
But yeah, I've through getting to talk with as many people from H2O as I've been lucky enough to do, I've learned some of the, new stuff because I had to get rid of my IWTV for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And, after talking to so many and hearing about these awesome matches, I'm like, shit, I got to look into getting that back. And then, learning about the Hustle Cup and, actually having a past winner on. So it's been fun. And so I'm looking forward to, in particular, me being the deathmatch fan that I am, Monday Night Death. That just the name alone would, signify part of why I'm looking forward to that one. And then Hustle Cup, because this will be my first one actually getting to watch it as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to, along with the content going out on my channels, getting to follow along with everything H2O's doing that week, because H2O has been very good to me.
Hell yeah. We do our thing as best as possible.
That you guys do. I mean, you ended 2023 with the bang and started 2024 off exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's been one hell of a start so far. And I remember when I heard that H2O was, helping with the whole week of shows, I'm like, well, dang, two promotions doing shows pretty much every day that week. And I mean, WrestleMania week is already, for those that watch independent wrestling, it's almost just as much of a big thing for those independent wrestling fans as people going to the big show itself.
Mm-hmm. That is true. A lot of times I try to keep that in mind too, when I have my matches too, everything's an experience, everything's a story. So I try to get everybody involved as best as possible. As long as I get that emotion, I'm good.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, you think, I've seen some of the prices for WrestleMania this year, and I'm like, oh, God. I would need to save up for a few months to even be able to afford just the ticket.
yeah. Me, my wife, and we got tickets a really long time ago, but even months ago they were still pricey, and I remember, it took me and my wife saving up a little bit just to get what we got. But it was like, isn't it once in a lifetime experience, like you can't miss? So,
Oh, yeah. No, that is exactly it. Is hell, WrestleMania is like described as the Super Bowl of professional wrestling. And I remember during the Super Bowl when everybody was talking about that streaker, I'm like, well, Super Bowl is kind of a once in a lifetime thing for a lot of people. So if you're not going to have to worry about ever going back to one,
I get it, but still,
but yeah, it's still a stupid move, but it's like,
yeah.
if you already paid that much and you're never gonna go to another one,
Again, if you want to make that type of history, then go ahead. But still, you
yeah.
just spend all that money, and then you usually with situations like that, it's like, yeah, you can never come back for any event. So that's
Yeah,
another.
that is the other thing to think about there. So, while I get it, I also, yeah, still a stupid move.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also this, WrestleMania week, like we mentioned, many independent wrestling promotions bringing their best to the area, and it's basically WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of professional. Words are hard. Professional wrestling. WrestleMania week is like the Super Bowl of independent professional wrestling, with everything going on, all the big names coming in, the meet and greets, and just everything going on. It's something that, with the rumors again of where WrestleMania is going to supposedly go next year, who knows? It's a little bit closer to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, eh, that place has been rumored to be the next place the past I don't know how many years. So it's like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, that's even when they mentioned it in Philly. I think it was like three other spots that were rumored, like when we heard about it, and I was like, I don't think they're gonna choose Philly. I mean, and then we were trying to think like, all right, maybe if they had people on the field, they could fit that type. I was thinking about like how many people they could jam pack in a in a stadium,
Yeah.
and none against the link, but there is other stadiums that are bigger that I was like, and then also, in my opinion, I feel as though if they build a new stadium, they automatically want to like go towards a
Yeah.
newer stadium.
That seems to be the way it's been going. And I was actually just at the Minnesota Vikings Stadium in Minneapolis for the Packers Vikings game on New Year's
Mm-hmm.
Eve. So, like, it would be a nice stadium to have Mania in, but like I said, it's literally been rumored to be that next spot for, I've lost count of how many years now. So it's like, I'll believe it when I see the graphic up during Mania.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Olympics too. I always want the like some type of Olympics event to be here, and it's like, oh, we're always runner up or we're somewhere in the talks, but it never happens.
Yeah, yeah, hell, that's coming up this summer, ain't it? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My wife's gonna be watching gymnastics that whole freaking time. Like, I get it. Some of the stuff they're able to do, the flippy stuff, kind of appeals to some of the acrobatics that some professional wrestlers are able to pull off. So I try to describe it that way to my wife, but she supports my love of professional wrestling, but she don't get it either. But
Yeah.
hey, it's not everybody's thing.
I guess I'm one of the lucky ones. My wife loves wrestling. That's another thing too. Her favorite's Randy. So you know, another cool little memory here. When we were dating, she used to be one of the hostess at TGI Fridays, and when I used to come when we were in our dating phase, I'd be like, "Hey, put wrestling on." It'll be that one tiny monitor in the corner, and it'll just be wrestling, just waiting for her to get off of work.
That's awesome. Like, my wife will watch it with me, and hell, we actually met at a show because we have a mutual friend that runs a show here in town.
That's all.
And you know, like I said, she supports me in loving it because she knows it relaxes me and makes me happy. But she, like, if you can find somebody else to go with you to a show, take them.
Oh man.
But yeah, to each their own. But getting back into some of the WrestleMania week stuff, I've been
Mm-hmm.
hearing a lot about your opponent for the Hustle Cup event. What are you looking forward to and facing off against them?
Um, oof. It's it's kind of like a low key dream match for me, I guess. Um, Me and Mikowski we come from the same background. That's kind of where I was before, I actually started taking this serious. I was kind of on the opposite side of the guardrail. I was dabbling into, wrestling and jujitsu and all those type of deals. And then, you know, I use that, I use that's my comfort zone in the ring is, going back to my technicalness, I guess, and all my submission stuff that I learned from, jiu-jitsu. And I will say that maybe like over a year, probably a little bit longer, right before he got hurt. I did a seminar with him. He came in, did a seminar, ran class, and it was great. And I was like, wow, the transition, in that time frame too. At the time, I was trying to learn how to take the stuff that I was learning from jujitsu and implement it into the ring. So him showing me a lot of those type of transitions like changed my game a lot. And then, just I was like, you know what, one day I'm gonna wrestle him, whenever I'm ready. And then sure enough, here's the match, and it's like, wow, this is really happening. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to this match.
That I am from, like I said, I'm I love getting introduced to new things, and well, my dog is getting upset about something. But like with professional wrestling these days, especially on the independents, there's so much to choose from. So you're constantly, as much as you might watch, constantly getting introduced to new stuff and new people.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one that I'll admit I might not have known as much about, but through, getting IWTV back and, watching clips from stuff with former guests, I'm like, okay, I got to keep my eye on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one myself. And we talked, H2O having ended 2023 with a bang, and sure starting 2024 off with one. And the WrestleMania week stuff isn't all that H2O has going on in April.
Nope.
They're actually going to be ending the month off with a pretty big thing with a show on the 27th called
Yep.
Uninvited.
Uninvited.
Making sure I'm getting that right.
Nope, you're right.
Okay, cool. Because I got tagged in the post on Instagram, so I'm like, okay, making sure I'm reading it right, because I think I was half asleep at the time that I got the alert.
But nope, yeah, that's we're gonna end off the month pretty strong.
Starting and ending it.
Mm-hmm. As strong as and as important as WrestleMania week is, that's we always look past that. Like, yes, we're gonna get here, but then we're gonna kill it here, and then we're gonna do even better at the next one, and then we're gonna do even better at the one after that. Like that's my mindset. I always want to get better after every match, or and those type of scenarios. Yeah. They're great opportunities.
Oh yeah, always thinking, how can you top the last time?
Yep.
Those things, and then coming up with stuff to do that. Mm-hmm. I can get the thrill behind that for sure.
Yeah.
Then you're not just with doing some big things with H2O. You're also Smash Master Wrestling.
Yep.
In a fatal 4-way against another guy coming from H2O, and also a former guest of mine, Duncan Aleem. And I didn't get the other two guys' names written down, but it looks like it's going to be, as a good old JR would put it, a slobber knocker.
Yes. That is this Saturday. It is in, I think it's closer to like the Scranton area of
Okay.
PA. So it's a little ways out there. Duncan, we haven't been eye to eye
Sweet.
recently with a lot of things, so um, it's a little bittersweet thing where it's kind of like I get to beat up my baby brother again. So
Yeah.
for Mookie and everybody else in that match, it's as
Collateral
long as,
damage.
yeah, collateral damage. Just stay out of the way so we could beat each other up, settle our differences, and then we'll get to you guys later.
You know what? When I saw that, I kind of got that image in my head because I've been made aware and watching the, developments between you and Duncan. So it's like, oh boy, that's going to be one where the two of them are just going to pipples.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, haven't been seeing eye to eye recently. Again, we actually we all started it together. Brian, Duncan, Sean, myself. We all came from the backyard together. So, you know, obviously we all had that, picture in our head that we're all going to be, somewhere eventually, and that we all be doing our own thing.
Yeah.
But we somewhat try to promise each other that we wouldn't, let that come in between the brotherhood and the friendship that we have. But shit happens. You know,
Yeah.
People get to certain spots, and if they have to take that opportunity, you got to take that opportunity. But also on the flip side, you got to deal with the consequences at the same time.
No,
And
for sure.
yeah, that's where we all kind of been for this, the past couple months.
Yeah, it's been intense between you guys, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So hopefully, well, I don't think that no, excuse me, I love my Dr. Pepper, but it gives me the burps like crazy. But
Timmy.
oh yeah. But I don't think that this fatal four-way is going to be any sort of a blow off to any of it. I think there's been a little too much going on from whoever's end feels more slighted. That seems like there's been a lot boiling there. That it's going to take more than just one match to kind of blow that one off.
On my side, I will keep fighting him until we can't fight no more, or until we settle our differences. But fight forever. Scenario.
Gotcha. Yeah. That. Hey, I love those types of rivalries. That type of intensity is like I've told a bunch of people. I gravitate towards those intense personas because I don't know. There's something about it, especially like I made the comment as of recording this last night on Dynamite when Swerve came out there and just the look on his face and the chain and I'm like, oh my god, that is like, I'm like, give me more of that.
Yes. Yeah. And the fan side of me, I love stuff like that. Like the intensity, you can just feel everything, and it just, that connection is always like a great feeling to me.
No, yeah, and I've been lucky enough to actually get to meet Swerve one time. I gotta say, as much as he's a intense individual in front of the camera, one of the absolute nicest dudes behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to seeing him get some good stuff that he's got coming to him, because I think 2024 is going to be a good year for that guy.
Oh hell yeah, totally agree with you on that one.
I'm lucky enough that one of my signed figures back here is actually from him.
Oh, that's awesome.
That time that I got to meet him, it was at Revolver, and I've told the story on the show before of he wasn't out there for the meet and greet before the show, and I was a little disappointed after the show because I'm like, well, damn it, I brought this figure and now I'm just going to be taking it home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm walking to my car and I see somebody filming a promo in the parking lot, like not too far away from my car. And as I get closer, there it was. That was him. So I'm like, I'm going to stand back here a little bit, let him finish. Boom, I got it done.
That's a great story. That's a great experience. Like a weird coincidence too, where it's like, damn, man, I just missed him, but it's like, oh wait, he's right here.
And even funnier, that same show, Rich Swann. I've met him a couple times, but it was just kind of the same thing where he was not out there for the meet and greet beforehand. Mm-hmm. And I'm like gathering up my stuff, a little bummed out. And then I turn around and like 2-3 feet behind me, boom, there he is. And I got his one signed.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. I've had plenty of great memories coming from Revolver shows, and hopefully about to make a couple more this coming Saturday as you're at that show for that Fatal 4-Way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be paying attention to see how that Fatal 4-Way goes for sure. Now, I have 2 categories. One's a bit of a name game where I name off some people and you give me some quick thoughts on them. Now, each of these people, well, all but one has already been on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But they are all having been, they've made a good name within the doors of H2O.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, give you the name, quick thoughts on the person.
No problem.
First one is making a big name for herself on the big stage right now. And I could not be happier for her. But the one and only Billie Starkz.
Ooh, Billie Starkz. She's amazing. Met her a couple times at H2O, and every single encounter was always great. But she's amazing. Like, sky's the limit for her.
Oh yeah, I've made the comment before that the sky isn't even the limit for her.
Yeah, I mean, even see, it is a little understatement there. Yeah, I can totally see what you mean.
But even at like the young age that she is, already accomplishing all that she has, and just imagining in my head where could she be when she starts thinking about retiring.
Oh man, hopefully she doesn't retire anytime soon.
Oh yeah, no, hopefully not anytime soon, but yeah. I was lucky enough to have her on. This was shortly after her junior year of high school had ended. Mm-hmm. Because I tried to get her on before, concentrating on school and stuff. So I'm like, we can take care of it in the summer. No worries. Mm-hmm. And then actually getting to meet her and see her in a match in person for the first time. Again, I keep on bringing up Revolver, but it was there in a scramble match. So that was a fun time. Like I watched many times on, IWTV, Fight TV and all that. But finally in person, I'm like, yep, I knew it was going to be good, but damn.
Her main event, Japan, was amazing.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, and then I got to actually see her wrestle Matt when she just came back from Japan, and that match was super emotional, and that was a great match.
Oh, and yeah, I saw that one myself, and yeah, amazing.
And then recently, her with the championship match, I thought she was gonna get it. I was about to.
Oh, same.
She was so close. So like she was about to be the youngest champ ever.
Oh yeah.
I was super.
Oh man, I was so pulling for her in that.
Mm-hmm.
But then literally in my opinion, the stuff that her and Athena are doing in Ring of Honor right now is some of the only stuff that makes me miss having Honor Club, because really Athena's the only champion that is there consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So it got to the point with me, it's like, at least for me, why would I pay for Honor Club when I can watch all the champions on the AEW programming?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't really blame it on them. Maybe
Yep, that is true.
that's like a network thing at that point. It's
Yeah,
I totally get that sometimes.
yeah.
Because it's like
No,
some people I want to see, you have to watch specific shows, or it's like you want to see this person, but they haven't been around for a little bit, and they pop up, and it's like, oh, are they going to be on Ring of Honor? Are they going to be on Dynamite, Rampage, or are they going to be on something else?
yeah.
There's
No,
a lot to pick from, I guess.
oh yeah. No, I definitely get the logic behind your thoughts there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was just one of those things that at the time I was having to make some cuts anyways, so I'm like, yeah, I can do without. All right, next one. I'm trying to remember when in the order of H2O people that I've had on that she came on, but the grimy bitch Jess Moss.
Just, I love her to death. That's all I can say. No matter what she does, I love her to death.
Oh man, I love watching her matches, and you know, it takes somebody in the death match scene. It takes somebody special to come out to, what was it, Shania Twain, and
Mm-hmm.
be able to have it like actually work.
Everybody dances
She,
to it.
yeah, and she does it. She makes it work.
Mm-hmm.
Like it fits, and it's just okay. Let's go. And
Yeah.
yeah, I loved having her on, and yeah, nothing but great things to say about her. Well, I love when I ask about her though, and almost everybody's like, "Oh, she'll probably hate me for saying this."
Yeah, that's usually how it is. But it's I'll ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah, one of those ask for ask for forgiveness, not permission, sort of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I know she might punch me later, but you know what? I'm gonna say
Yeah,
it.
I gotcha. I gotcha. All right, now, like I said, I've been a huge fan of death match wrestling, and I've been lucky enough to have some pretty big names in the death match scene on, including this man who just not that long ago won the Danny Havoc Hardcore title, Neil Diamond Cutter.
Uncle Neil, yes. Love Neil too. Yeah. So funny thing, when we first met many years ago, it was like the Clark Kent situation.
Mm,
Me and Sean, again, like we do a lot of things together. So it was one of those things, we were paying our dues, and we thought at first he was one of those like super fans that just comes around all the time, and then you know, then it's like, oh, what match are oh, my match is ready, and then he just completely changed, and we're just like, oh my god, this whole entire time we were with Neil and had no idea that it was Neil.
oh yeah. Oh man, that is funny. Yeah, and like I remember he had actually come through Omaha before, and unfortunately I ended up having to miss that show.
Mm-hmm.
But it ended up being on that little uh documentary that IWTV had him do that
Mm-hmm.
involved, like, part of it him going over to Japan.
Yeah.
Part of it was that show here in Omaha. So when I watched it, I'm like, oh damn, okay. Like I knew he was here, but I guess I didn't really realize where and how close to the part of town I live in it was. I was
Mhm.
like, oh shit. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
maybe next time.
I will say, he is one of those people that you do want to see because watching him work, it's always something new.
Mm.
And again, his thought process of like the way things happen is it's a beautiful thing. It's literally a work of art, like, but it's his work of art, which is great to
Oh,
watch.
oh yeah. And the way he gets the crowd going just from the entrance music alone
Mm-hmm.
and then leading into the match, man, it's something that, yep, next time I see he's close to where I'm at, though, I'm not missing it. Not one bit. Now, the next guy, last guy on the list, he's on the wall in the H2O Center, one of those banners they got up there. He hasn't been on yet, but as of this moment, he is slated for next month
Hey,
to record with me. Papa G.
Papa G, yes, that's gonna be interesting, but it's gonna be great too at the same time. He's been around for I don't even know how long he's been around. He's been around forever from as long as I can remember with my career. He's been there, and even when I was a fan, I still remember him being there. So, I can only imagine the stories that he has.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I mean, I've been lucky enough to have, well, he'll actually be the second referee from H2O that I've had on. I haven't released it yet. I'm wanting to say it's the week before WrestleMania week that I have his episode getting released, but the Peacock referee Jimmy Deacon, I
Oh,
had.
Jimmy, yes,
Oh yeah, that was
yeah,
a fun one.
yeah.
So that I'm looking forward to getting that one released. Like I said, I'm wanting to say it's the week before WrestleMania week, but with as of you know this moment, yeah, it will be just over 230 episodes that not all have been released. So it's like sometimes my memory on specifics on stuff that hasn't been released yet can get a little fuzzy.
Yeah, there's a lot of material to remember. This is, anime numbers. Anime numbers is great.
Yes. All right. Now we got some random questions. Some might be wrestling related, some might not be. Some might
All right.
have absolutely nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far.
That's perfectly fine.
Oh, yeah.
Try to
That's
answer
why
the
I
best
love
of my abilities.
it. So I give you the question, you give me first answer that pops in your head. First thing, craziest in match moment for you.
Craziest in match moment. I would say we kind of had a giant. I don't want to. I don't know how to describe it without kind of sound. Without kind of messing this up like a clusterfuck, I guess.
Ah,
Um, uh, it was the one of the Full Metal Airstrikes. Um, you know, that match was insane. That from beginning to end, every
mm,
single, always refer back to that match a lot. Again, it had a lot of us in it. Um, I got tons of scars all over from that match.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but that match specifically, I remember locking in my finish. I'm like, all right, I'm about to make this guy tap, and then next thing you know, I turn around and here comes Sean with the trash can, and then next thing you know, like, turned into which one I gotta hit. I see three of them.
Which what are you?
Which way am I
There,
going?
there's four of you here. Which way do I go?
Yes, do I hit the one in the middle or do I hit the one on the right? Um,
Hopefully, at least hits one of you. Ah.
yes, But then like shortly afterwards, it was just bodies hit the floor. We were all just hitting each other and just throwing shit at each other.
Oh God, I can only imagine.
So I would definitely say that's one of those moments for sure.
Yeah, that would definitely be one hard to beat. I know I've witnessed my fair share of crazy stuff from no ring deathmatch shows, and being thankful that I wore closed-toed shoes, because I ended up having the metal connector end on the light tube flew off and hit me in the foot.
Oof.
And my first ever death match that I got to witness in person, Jake Chris versus Joel Bateman, and it ended with
Joel's amazing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually got a picture with him after the match, and his face is still all bloody.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then, oh God, I'm trying to think. Yeah, because that flaming glass, I was third row for that one, and that was nuts.
Did you feel it? I know you felt it.
It was on the opposite side of the ring for me, but yeah, I could feel it a little bit. And I've now got to see 2 different Second Gear Crew matches with all 3 of them. And yes, my joke that I've even got to tell them in person still stands, that their matches might as well be sponsored by Home Depot.
Yeah, that's usually Lowe's, Home Depot, any type of hardware store that's around the neighborhood.
Usually. Yeah, one of those. Yeah, they might as well be sponsored by one of those.
I would say more like dollar stores, because there's been multiple occasions I've been to dollar stores and cleared them out of tax, like just walked in, pulled the shopping cart up with tax.
I can see that too. And then seeing Matthew Justice jumping off a scaffold.
Yeah.
That dude, like, a huge fan of his, but damn, is he nuts. Like, God damn, I don't know if I could do anything near what I've seen that guy pull off.
Yeah, but also that's what makes him special,
That is true.
That's what makes him special is that, him being able to do that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, and being able to bounce back from it, because they're feeling that for a while.
Yeah, some of those crash and burns definitely was like, my legs hurt and my knees are hurting just watching. Like,
oh God, I've had times where I've, like, my back that I hurt in the Navy, it's pretty much in constant pain, but there are times after, especially some of their matches, where I'm like, I wasn't even in the match and I'm feeling it.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, speaking along those lines, H2O has had some pretty intense stuff, and lots of weapons, thumbtacks, and all of that getting involved. What is a weapon you would like to avoid being used on you in a match if you had the choice?
Gusset plate.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll definitely go with the gusset plate.
Yeah. That same no ring show, I didn't get the same with the light tube connector end, but one came pretty close to me, and then somebody else that knew the fan I was, he actually just picked it up and gave it to me after the match. So I got it around here somewhere. But yeah, oh God, just even touching it, you're like,
yeah,
no.
First time I ever ran into the gusset plate scenario, I'm like, my dad uses these to put up, wooden objects. Like, he was using these gusset plates to put up our deck. Like, and you're driving this into your head or any other part of your body. It's like, wow.
Yeah, like I have seen stuff that gusset plates were holding up, and then to see people driving them into other people, I'm like, ouch. Yep. Nope. Would not want one of those used on me. Now, next question I have. I mean, I talked about some of my collection back here. One of my hobbies, a lot of my collections. What would you say hobby you have? Because you kind of mentioned some, memorabilia and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm a big nerd, so collect a lot of things. My wife loves Star Wars.
Mm,
uh, so we have a lot of things: Star Wars, wrestling. I was the regular DC Marvel.
mm.
Um, my son, and myself, we are more on like the anime side, so we have a couple anime like figures and other posters and things like that. Um, we have like pictures of us from like Comic Cons and all
Mm.
those type of deals like cosplaying and stuff.
Got
Uh,
you. That's that's awesome. Getting to share in that. I know, some. I got some stuff that I'm pretty damn proud of, even though like I said, I'm not near the level of like Matt Cardona and his wrestling figure, his action figure room. Which coincidentally, I got a figure of his right here that I'm planning on getting signed this coming Saturday. But up there with my Ninja Turtle stuff, which growing up it was pro wrestling and Ninja Turtles for me.
mm-hmm.
This last July, I actually got to meet the voice of Michelangelo from the original cartoon.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And I actually got a
Oh, I'm
Funko Pop
jealous.
signed by him up there.
That's amazing.
And then right next to him, the guy behind Splinter from the first two movies, Kevin Clash, I got a Splinter one signed by him.
Jeez. Oh, I'm jealous. I'm
Oh
jealous.
man. Like
Jealous.
I told the guy that voiced Michelangelo about growing up on that cartoon, that version of that cartoon, and Michelangelo being my favorite Ninja Turtle. We got in an almost 10-minute conversation just off of me saying that.
That's amazing.
And then the guy behind Splinter, he asked me, so do you want me to write Cowabunga or I made a funny? Because you know his ha ha ha, I made a funny.
Yes.
And I said, oh, dude, I made a funny. Absolutely.
I'm surprised he gave you a choice.
Yeah, I got the choice. And man, that was so awesome. And that actual same show, that convention, I got to meet Rikishi and got my Head Shrinker Fatu figure signed.
Yes. Rikishi. He's definitely on the bucket list of somebody I definitely want to meet.
He was actually in my first ever WWE show I ever went to as Head Shrinker Fatu. And I got to tell him about that as I handed him the figure. So that's why with my figures, I don't like buying them already signed.
Mm-hmm.
I like taking it to the person, having that memory, and getting to be like, getting to tell them the little stories like that.
Yeah.
Or hell, you talking about, well, before I get into tangents every once in a while, but I'm getting on one now.
Go ahead.
You
Go
brought
for
up
it.
Marvel. I've actually met Jim Shooter, the guy, one of the big wigs at Marvel, or had been, who like some of the original Avengers work he was behind. I got a Captain America one signed by him over there.
Wow.
And then like literally a couple months before everything happened with Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, he was actually at a comic shop here in Omaha, and my friend and I went, and I got a Green Ranger one signed by him.
So we and my wife were able to meet him at previous cons, and it's kind of like a sad moment because my
Yeah,
son growing up, at the time frame when he first got into Power Rangers, it was the Dino
yeah,
Thunder.
yeah.
So we got to be like, hey, watch Mighty Morphin and all this other stuff, and got to show him all like the previous stuff.
Yeah.
So we were like, yes, the next time the con comes around, we'll show you we'll let you meet the Green Ranger and everything. And then he passed away, and it's like, oh man, like
Yeah, there was the same reaction for me and my friend because I didn't know that he was coming until I went to watch a pay-per-view with the friend of mine I went with. He was like, "Hey, you hear the Green Ranger's coming to town? You want to go?" And I'm like,
yeah,
yeah." So we went, and then, like, I'm not even kidding. It was maybe no more than 3 months later,
mm-hmm.
2, 3 months later, the news came out about everything that happened with him, and we were like, that shock of when stuff like that happens with somebody that you literally just met, and you're like, oh, damn. Like, mental health is something that I take very seriously, and I'm actually attempting to help out a friend that's attempting to put on a benefit show for a charity
Mm-hmm.
for that subject. And yeah, it just makes you think that, yeah, you never know what somebody's going through. They could literally be, you know, in your interaction with them seeming just fine. And then, yeah, you don't know what they're hiding.
Yeah, it is absolutely true. Mental health is, I take that very seriously too. A lot of my family members, take that really serious. Growing up, a lot of friends that, and certain family members that we had, passed away due to mental health issues and, things related to that nature.
Yeah.
Um, shit, one of my best friends growing up passed away that way, and I'm still, we it's been over 10 years, and I'm still not over, that simple fact where it's like I was literally just with him a couple of days ago, and
Yeah.
everything perfectly fine, and it's like I wish we just could have had that talk, like
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely one of those things where it's like, man, you hope that they knew that if they needed to, all they had to do is just one phone call. It didn't matter when, and boom, you're
mhm.
there. Which I know I've been in situations like that myself. I've held mental health in the veteran community is an important issue, and I actually, before I was even in the Navy a year, somebody that I was in my job training school had that happen. And then I wasn't even out of the Navy a year yet, and somebody else. So I've definitely had it's a subject that hits home,
Yeah,
like with you for sure.
definitely had some.
Now to move on to a bit of a brighter subject.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now to move on to a brighter subject. We're on the heels of WrestleMania. Everybody has their favorite moments, favorite matches. What would you say is a favorite match or moment from WrestleMania history for you?
I want to say I have a moment that I always bring up. I just every time I talk about the moment, I understand because it is touchy of the
Oh,
subject. So again, growing up, one of my favorite guys was Eddie, and
mm,
then that moment with Chris,
yeah,
and when they were
that
celebrating.
I was gonna say that is one of mine too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments of all time. Another good moment for me is the Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Undertaker
Oh,
WrestleMania.
yeah, at the like
Yeah.
that whole match, but then the ending of the three of them at the
Mm-hmm.
top of the ramp. Yeah,
Yep.
that's something
Yeah.
special.
I would say my number one special moment was always gonna be Austin and Rock, because that was the very first like pay-per-view I ever watched as a kid. I think they were in Texas. I think at that time. I think they were in
Oh,
Texas.
17 in Houston.
Yeah, I think they were in Texas. That was the
Yeah,
very.
the one in Houston. I wanted to say, yeah.
That was the very first like WWE event that I ever watched, and then like after that, I was hooked from that on out.
Oh,
Me, a small kid, it's just my grandfather's like, "Hey, come watch this," and we were all glued in front of the TV. You know,
no, yeah, that was one of those manias all around, just a damn good one
mm-hmm.
for sure. And yeah, the first moment you brought up, one of my favorites. I know, going into Stone Cold, his submission match with Bret Hart, and
Oh yeah,
that moment at the end that gets replayed all the time, where Stone Cold's in the sharpshooter and the blood's dripping
good
down,
shit.
and he's
Yes.
just Stone Cold screaming, and the memory of knowing that he didn't tap out, he passed out because he's like not gonna tap out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm a huge Stone Cold fan, so that right there, any almost any moment with Stone Cold at WrestleMania, one of my favorites. Like, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I ever got to actually meet him and hell, have him on the podcast, one, it would take me a while to get over the shock of being like actually in the room with him. And two, I could just do the my 2 cents stuff on my channels after that, and I would be just as happy, because I'm like, you know what? How am I going to top it in an interview like that?
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, when we go to like the parking lot in the morning time, like we same thing. Like again, we were fans. Fans first. So like meeting certain people, or like even just being able to have that little tiny 2-second conversation is like, wow, you're actually really standing in front of me, and like you're actually talking to me like an actual person. Like, holy hell.
Yeah, that was like when I had my little interaction with Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was just starting that sadistic son of a bitch heel run. Like, he was right on the verge of starting that when I met him.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's those heels that, like, you meet them, and they do a good job of making you wonder, like, is that going to be them when the camera's off of them?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to talking with them, and too, nicest ever. Yeah, I've got nothing but great things to say about Swerve. And coincidentally, after I tweeted a friend of mine from Fightful
Mm-hmm.
about wanting Swerve on the show real bad, literally maybe 5 minutes later, all of a sudden I get an alert on Twitter that Sir Strickland followed you back. And I'm like, what?
Sorry, little guys up there.
Bah, it's all good. Now, with the name of a show like I have, I would feel weird if I didn't have this question. Favorite drink, whether it be alcoholic or non, because I like to tell people, just because it says drinking at Moe's doesn't mean that it has to be alcoholic.
Yes. So, favorite drink, just like a regular drink, milk. I'm like a super heavy milk drinker. For alcohol, I'm a Corona guy. Really kind of simple, but nothing wrong with a Coke Corona.
Oh, yeah, nothing wrong with that. I know me, like I said, I'm a bit of a Dr. Pepper fiend. I'm When it comes to alcohol, I'm more of a beer guy. Speaking of Stone Cold, I need to get me some more of this.
They're really good.
Oh,
Love it.
the American lager. Oh, it's delicious.
Mm,
That and Coors Banquet, another of my favorites. Corona, not bad. I'm more of a Dos Equis guy myself, but Corona, not bad. And mixed, I like Jack and Coke with grenadine. It basically tastes like a Jack and Cherry Coke.
ooh, that sounds good.
It is delicious. Like you might think, oh, why not just get a cherry Coke and put Jack with it? But I'm like, it tastes different to me.
Hmm.
But it tastes similar enough that I like it.
Yeah.
All
Usually
right.
like mixed drinks. I usually do like orange juice with like tequila or
That's good. That's good.
yeah.
Or I do enjoy a good margarita as about as much as anybody.
Yeah, that is true. That and tacos. Margarita and tacos is bingo.
Oh, margarita and tacos, killer freaking combination.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, like yeah. And there's some tequilas that you definitely got to be careful putting that stuff in a margarita because
Yeah.
it becomes evident pretty quick why that that whole one tequila, two tequila, three tequila floor phrase came about.
Yeah.
It's those tequilas.
The sad part is that's like my first choice usually. Some people are rum guys, some people are whiskey. I'm like, nah, I'll take the tequila.
My family likes to give me crap about that myself, but yeah, it literally goes tequila then whiskey for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, last but not least here, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling.
Oof, that's a lot.
It can
I
be a
would say
loaded one.
I would say the most be humble, be open minded. Um, when I first started, again, me and the guys, we came from all different backgrounds. I came from, the MMA scene and the jiu-jitsu scene. Sean, he came from the parkour scene and taekwondo scene. Um, we all come from like, even Duncan and Brian, like we all come back from some type of background. And then we all were in the backyard and then we took it, then we jumped to take it serious. And then it was like, hey, even though we know stuff and we have like somewhat of a grasp of the idea of this, but it was like, hey, clean slate, learn as much as possible, leave the ego at the door. Um, and here we are, like,
That the leaving the ego at the door can be a little easier said than done for some people, but it after the amount of episodes that I've had on and the interactions that I've had with people beforehand, wrestling is one of those ever evolving processes. You
mhm.
never know everything. There's always something to improve. There's always somebody to learn from. And it's one of those things that it brings me back to those student versus teacher matches where
Mhm.
you'll often hear the teacher say that they might have taught them everything that that person knows, but they didn't teach them everything that they know.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Definitely. Well, that is about all I have. But before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there.
Yes. So on Instagram, Cecilio Vega. Same thing with Facebook. The Facebook still getting more not acquainted, but obviously I know how to use Facebook, but more, trying to be more interactive. Obviously I have my own personal pages that I kind of want to keep personal, but yep.
Yeah,
Definitely any, Cecilio Vega on Instagram and Facebook. I'm always, shoot me a message or that's where you can catch me.
definitely. We'll get all that in the description. It looks like one of my wife's cats is trying to get a hold of me to make sure that I get them out of the basement. So it's probably my signal to get going.
No
Thank
problem.
you again for taking the time to talk to me tonight. Best of luck out there this weekend and with everything H2O has going on. See the thing with my cat trying to knock over
Not
my stick.
the
But
camera over.
best of luck out there, H2O
Thank
Wrestling
you.
weekend. And April 27th with Uninvited. I'm looking forward to keeping up with as much of it as I possibly can.
No problem. Can't wait to put on a show for everybody.
All right.